Hey, I'm Mike Baccarella, and today we're going to explore Mick Goodrick's concept of playing up and down one string. Let's take a look. This comes from Mick Goodrick's amazing book, The Advancing Guitarist. I am just now checking this book out, and I know I'm really late to the party. And if you haven't checked this book out, it's amazing. Everything in just every page is full of amazing stuff. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. I regret not looking at this years and years ago. One of the first things Mick talks about in this book is playing up and down one string. And he starts with just talking about scales. So that's where we're starting today, playing a scale up and down a single string. So in the example, I was playing C harmonic minor. You can play this with any scale, and if you haven't done this a lot, I would suggest starting with the major scale. But today we're going to take a look at harmonic minor just because that's what I've been working on lately. The notes in C harmonic minor are C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, and B natural. So what we're going to do is we're going to map out what notes we have. We're going to play from the lowest note possible on our string and play as high as we can. Now I know, like I have a Les Paul shape here, so I can play really high in the neck. If you have a hollow body or an acoustic guitar without a cutaway, you can't play as high, and that's totally fine as long as you really get the first octave. The second octave repeats, so you kind of are doing the same amount of work. So out of those notes from C harmonic minor, the lowest I can play on the E string is F, which would be the fourth of the scale. And then go up to G, A flat, B natural, C, D, E flat, and F. And then from here, I repeat where I started. I'll put a metronome on, and I'll do 2 minutes per string. And I'll just kind of improvise freely through the scale. As you spend time doing this, you realize that a couple things are lacking from your playing. You don't have access to your lines now. I'm sure most of your lines take place on more than one string, so you have to play a lot more melodically. And because it's so difficult to move, to extend your range, because you have to go up and down the string and the whole neck, you have to play more rhythmically. You have to play with fewer notes at a time to kind of explore what's going on. And this is great practice because it opens up, musicality in different ways. So right there, I try to play a couple melodies and kind of repeat them, in a way, and sequence them through the scale. It's also a really great way to break out of your box positions, because as guitarists, as we're learning our scales, we all kind of suffer with trying to figure out, okay, I've got my positions. I can play here, I can play here, I can play here. But how do we get out of that? How do we explore the neck more freely? Well, this is going to really help, because you don't have any positions now. You just have the notes of the scale. And as you do this on all 6 strings over time, the whole guitar starts to open up in a big way. So you'll still have your positions, but you'll see how to link them and how to kind of explore on one string at a time. And then once you get where you're going, relate it to a position Taking this concept to the next level, what if we did arpeggios up and down one string? Now we're dealing with bigger interval gaps. But if we can see our triads and seventh chords on one string at a time, we can really get a hold of nailing our changes, and being able to navigate through harmony. So because we're playing a C harmonic minor, I'm going to play a C minor triad. So my notes in the triad are C, E flat, and G. So I'm going to start on the lowest one I can find. It's G, and the 3rd fret. Then I got a big jump to C, and E flat, and then of course I can repeat up to G. Now, this is something you should do on every single string. Of course, this is something you could take, and if you're into Van Halen or Randy Rhoads, that's what's going on in Eruption and Crazy Train and all those kind of solos. A lot of those tapping ideas come from just playing arpeggios up and down one set of strings, and it's too big of a stretch to grab the whole triad at once. That's why you bring your second finger, and that's why Eddie Van Halen and those guys were doing these kind of things. And so that's C minor. What if we do C minor 7? So I'm going to add a B flat to that. I can do C minor major 7, which would be from harmonic minor. So I'll change the B flat to B. Do C major 7. C dominant 7. This is a great exercise to practice because the more time you do this and the more keys you explore and the more different arpeggios you do, you'll start to see your resolution notes and your notes to target freely through all the different strings rather than thinking of position. You can kind of go where the music's telling you. It just gives you more freedom as you learn more and more things. Now, the next step of this is, can you play through a whole tune on one string? Can you navigate all the changes on that one set of strings? And that's where this is really all starting to come together and really showing your mastery over the material. For myself, I'm finding that trying to navigate entire tunes on the 5th or 6th string, I'm running into more difficulty than I probably should. So I've been spending more and more time doing just this and opening up the guitar in those spots, because we tend to play only on the higher strings when we're improvising. We don't tend to play a lot in the bass strings. And that's a weakness I've discovered of my own playing. Sometimes your ideas need to ascend, and maybe you don't want to play through a position. Maybe you want to actually ascend the neck. And the more control you have over your scales and arpeggios on single strings, the more ideas you have to do this. And of course, it opens you up to some of these Ingve licks. So thanks for checking out this lesson. Keep practicing. I'll see you next time.